Grundy to Kirk. Oh.
Love that.
Brett, welcome to Ask a Swan, proudly brought to you by Volkswagen.
Thanks for having me, Brody.
You're welcome. Now, for those that don't know who Brett Kirk is, give us a bit of an insight. Who is Brett Kirk?
I'd call myself a dad. I've got 5 kids, 5 wonderful kids, husband, and my role here at the Swans is Head of Wellbeing and Development. So I'm here to steer, guide, care, support, challenge a group of young men that are playing AFL footy to get the best out of themselves, not only better footballers, but better people.
Can you give potentially some of those listening at home or on the train home from work, some other ways in which you connect with people? What are some of the little nuances, the little Brett Kirk tips and tricks that you use to reward, challenge, and really connect with?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is the depth of the relationship you have with someone. So that's spending time, it's been listening, it's having empathy, understanding where someone's coming from, and then not having any sort of preconceived judgments about anything really, and just sometimes just sitting with people, giving them space and asking curious questions that allow them to explore for themselves. Because I think for most parts it's best if the individual can work it out themselves rather than having to be told.
That's really interesting. I mean, I've only been at the football club for 18 months or so, and a lot is spoken around the Bloods culture, and obviously you were a key part in developing and nurturing that culture. How do you balance that hardness, that traditional sort of football masculinity, if you will, with the empathy, the listening, the sitting with someone?
Yeah, I guess if I think about it, I never really saw myself as, okay, when I'm a footballer, when I'm this, or when I'm this, or when I'm a dad. It was kind of like, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, you know, this is what I'm about. Definitely, I think game day, I think for me anyway, as a leader, I needed to be more direct and it needed to be sharper, and sometimes it needed to be done in, sometimes in 5 or 10 seconds. So you don't have the time to be able to sit and listen and to have conversations. So I had to learn that behaviour because that wasn't something that came naturally to me. But there's no doubt, I think I'm not in those situations anymore. Obviously being a runner, it's sort of, at times we've had conversations different times on the field, hopefully helpful.
And please give the people at home an insight into some of the conversation we have on game day, because we've had some great questions come in, one of which was from Paul KG9. What type of messages are you delivering on field to the players?
Yeah, okay. I'm the conduit between the coaches and the players. So our game going for half an hour straight, sometimes you might come to the bench to get messages, but there is times in games where me as the conduit has an opportunity to go out, deliver a message. Generally this comes down from the coaches, where they're picking up on strategic things. Sometimes it might be asking a question, might be getting some answers. Sometimes it might be challenging someone and just making them think. And there's no doubt in my role, I think the better I understand people and the person I'm delivering the message to, the better our relationship is. I think you can get cut through. I think we've had this conversation before about, I'll sort of I want you to give me a license. So what do you need? I know you like detail. Sometimes game day, it's not time for detail. So we have conversations around just bringing it back to being really clear. This is what I need. If you ask more questions, I'll say, no, this is what we need.
Yeah.
And then we can move forward.
Great. And just as you were articulating that, it's really interesting because it's sort of crystallising for me when you're talking about the role you have at, during the week with the welfare development space, and then you're a runner on game day. I'm thinking as you're talking, I'm obviously listening to what you're saying, but I'm also thinking, well, hang on, how do these two things marry up? And what you're saying there around knowing the player, so the off-field, 9 to 5, understanding the player's needs, you're actually almost like, literally like another coach, like a performance mindset coach, because you know the players so intimately, the families, what's happening sort of off-field, on-field. So it is a real strength.
Yeah, I guess I'm in a fortunate position that, one, I've played the game, two, I've been in a leadership position, and now in my role, so I understand footy, but also a big part of my strength is emotional intelligence to understand people and picking up on things, picking up on body language, so yeah, hopefully I am having a positive impact. There's definitely certain types of players that want certain types of feedback during the game, and whether they tell me or not, I pretty much know the ones that sort of need to be steered a bit more. Sometimes it's just like a bit of a look, but sometimes it's sometimes it's contact, an arm or a shoulder or something, because we're all different. We're all quite unique individuals. So,
and Mara Matthews has asked a question: what is your favourite thing to do with the family away from footy?
I love to travel, because then there's nothing else going on. There's no other commitments. We can all just hang together. I think they're the most memorable times for me, is just hanging together. Whether that's we travel somewhere, whether it's just laying on the lounge watching a TV show together, whether it's wandering down, laying on a rock, going for a swim, when there's not too much other stuff going on. And it doesn't need to be lots of conversation either. Sometimes it's just being and sharing each other's space. Also love the dining room table as well. The 7 of us sitting around having a feed.
So you would do that most nights? Have the kids around the dining table most nights?
Try to, yeah. Given that there's footy training and dancing and lots of other stuff going on, basketball, and we try to navigate it. But yeah, ideally, I'd love to do that every night.
So the parents watching at home, how have you been able to get the kids all up to the dinner table?
Well, I just talk about the importance of us sort of sitting together and without the TV going or without things going on, just so we can have a yarn, check in, ask each other about their day. I love to get people around. My youngest boy, Scout, has got some array of questions he loves to ask, and we bounce around the table. And I think the dining room table is an important thing to do as a family, to be able to just sit and just share a meal and have a yarn.
Brett, you've actually just shared so much wisdom in such a short amount of time, and I am conscious of your time, so I'll just ask one more question from Ben Stevenson. Best advice you would give to any young player coming through and wanting to play at AFL?
Train hard. I'm all about work ethic. I survive because of work ethic and perseverance and a high level of discipline. So I think that if you've got that, depending, obviously you need a certain degree of talent, but I think a work ethic, a discipline and a perseverance, a resilience to be able to navigate an industry which is challenging and tough and hard, it can outweigh someone that's just got the talent but hasn't got the drive or the want or the ability to be able to, dig in when it's tough. They're three things, and they're three things that don't take any talent at all. They just take a bit of internal motivation in firing your belly, and I'm always about putting the overalls on and work boots and getting to work.
Well, I feel like we definitely need episode 2, 3 and 4.
We probably could sit here all day,
We're just scratching the surface. Brett, thank you so much for your time. I know how passionate you are about helping the young men and women in this football club reach their potential, and I know everyone at home would have definitely got something out of that. So thank you very much for sharing this space with me, mate. Cheers.